Thank you for making time for us on NTV Weekend Edition. This Saturday, the 15th day of June 2019, the country's top weekend bulletin starts right now with the headlines. Tonight, police officers killed in Wajir.
Tumepotesha askari 8 na wengine hawajulikani mahali wako.
Al-Shabaab believed to have carried out the 2 attacks. Also tonight, the agony of demolitions in Nakuru.
Walikuwa wamevalue hii kaburi ya mzee wangu, na tulikuwa tunangoja wakiku to compensate, tutamwexi ndio tumpeleke pahali pengine.
Family prepares to exhume king's bodies while decrying non-compensation and treatment by government. Plus, when life and death meet.
Had a body at casualty, so the body had been taken to morgue, and somebody found an opportunity to take this baby and put in the very linen that the body actually had been removed.
Moses, the miracle baby of Webuye. And the push and pull of succession politics.
Pray with me, because you cannot do it alone, that we get someone who is not a thief.
Kuna watu wengi wanasumbuka na mimi na wananisumbua. Ati mbona Ruto ameenda hapa, mbona Ruto ameenda kwa ile barabara, mbona ameenda kwa ile shule. Mimi nataka niwaombe hawa ndugu zangu wanisamee, kwa sababu niko na kazi ya kufanya.
This is NTV Weekend Edition with Edmond Nyabola.
Welcome to the broadcast. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Flora Atieno. To our top story, 8 police officers have been killed in Wajir County when Al-Shabaab militants planted an improvised explosive device on the road. The attack occurred at about 11 a.m. between Korof Harar and Konton area in Wajir near the Kenya-Somalia border. We are currently working on that story and we'll be giving you the pictures and the latest details on that as soon as we have them. Residents of Nakuru in Ongatarongai, that's in Kajiado County, are still trying to come to terms with the forceful eviction that took place yesterday, during which their houses were demolished to pave way for the construction of the second phase of the standard gauge railway. Some of the residents claim they are yet to be compensated, as NTV's Sharon Baranga now reports.
Alex Kungu and his brother Rolex Mwangi are clearing bushes at their father's gravesite, Charles Ngugi Kungu, who died in 2017. The 2 brothers are among residents who are affected by yesterday's demolition at Nakuru, Ongatarongai in Kajiado County. Ngugi's family is planning to exhume their father and transfer his remains to what will be their home in future.
Kwa sababu walikuwa wamevalue hii kaburi ya mzee wangu, na tulikuwa tunangoja wakiku to compensate, tutamwexi ndio tumpeleke pahali pengine.
Ngugi's family has been living here for more than 30 years. They have been dependent on crops they used to grow on their farm. But this stopped when pillars for the standard gauge railway were put up across their farm.
Wamekuja kututoa na nguvu, tumelala nje na kuomba kwa kulala kwa neighbors.
When residents of Nakuru in Ongatarongai were informed that the standard gauge railway would pass on their property, they did not object as long as they received their full compensation. But now they say the visitor they welcomed has cost them untold suffering.
Sisi tuna huzuni, tukijua ya kwamba ati tunalilia haki yetu. Hii ni haki yetu na wanatakiwa watulipe tuwaondoke kulingana na agreement wamepita na hatuwezi pigana na serikali.
Yesterday, they visited the National Lands Commission's office trying to find out when they will receive their compensation.
We gave him the parcels number, the 3 parcels number, and then he told us that ours is clean, it has no dispute. No, they told us by on Monday we'll be at NLC by 9 a.m. They will make sure that we leave that place on Monday with a check. So we are just hoping. We don't know if it is true or not true. Ama nile kutuzungusha like the other days, the past 2 years, 3 years.
For now, a number of them are stranded after their investments amounting to millions of shillings were brought down in minutes. Sharon Baranga, NTV, in the county of Kajiado.
Kakamega lookalike girls Sharon and Melon have been confirmed to be identical twins. DNA test and analysis results released today by Lancet Kenya confirmed Rosemary Kavelei to be the twins' biological mother. The third girl, Melvis, is however not a sister of the twins. Father Angeline Matias and Wilson Maruti had a 99.99% probability of being Melvin Imbaya's parents.
The story of Sharon Mitekwa and Melon Lutenyo unfolded like a movie. The two made headlines in April after the uncanny resemblance that sparked speculations that they could be identical twins. Their case was taken up by the Directorate of Criminal Investigations and DNA tests were conducted for both families. Today, they confronted a reality in the form of much-awaited DNA results released by Lancet. The results have revealed that Sharon and Melon are biological twins.
Utafiti wetu umethibitisha kuwa Sharon Mitekwa na Melon Lutenyo ambao walikuwa wamehisiwa kuwa ni mapacha, imethibitisha kwamba ni mapacha.
The DNA results have also revealed that Rosemary Onyango, a woman who has been raising Melon in Kakamega, is the mother of Sharon and Melon.
Kwa kila mtu kwa ujumla, yani huwa tunapima kila mtu moja kwa moja, alafu tunaangalia ile DNA yao kama inafanana. Na kupima mtu mmoja ni kati ya shilingi 10,000 hadi 20,000.
The third girl, Melvis, is however not a sister of the twins. Melvis Imbaya, who has been living with Melon as fraternal twins in Kakamega County, has been confirmed to be the daughter of Angelina Omina and Wilson Luta, who have been living in Nairobi with Sharon as their daughter.
Huyu Melvis na Sharon walibadilishwa, mmoja akapatiwa mzazi ambaye si wake na yule mwingine hivyo. Na ni bahati tu kwamba kulikuwa na pacha kati wao ambao waliweza kuleta ile link tukisema, lakini bila hivyo angejua maishani mwao.
Sharon, Melon and Melvin were born at Kakamega Hospital in August 1999, where it is alleged they were switched. Angelina Omina and Rosemary Kaveveli both went into labor around the same time and were admitted to Kakamega Hospital. Rosemary was told she had twins whom she named Melon and Melvis. Angelina was given her little girl and she called her Sharon. Rosemary claims that when she gave birth, one of the twins was taken ill and she had to leave the hospital, should come back to breastfeed, then go back home. She questioned whether maybe it was at this point that her baby could have been exchanged. Almost 2 decades later, Melon and Sharon met on social media and it became apparent that everything about them, from their dental formula to the nails, was similar. The DNA test has finally put an end to the lingering questions the two families have had ever since Sharon and Melon found each other. The DCI is expected to give the way forward as per investigations into what could have transpired at the Kakamega County Referral Hospital 20 years ago. The girls, now Form 4 candidates, have previously declared that they have already established a strong bond of sisterhood. The families said that they are yet to make a decision on what to do next, although they claim the results would not tear them apart. The girls are expected in school on Monday.
Tukasema kwamba hayo majibu ndio tafanya kwanza tuungane pamoja, tusaidiane na tuzidi kushirikiana kama familia.
For now, the family's main goal is to embark on guiding the girls who are Form 4 candidates to shift their focus to academics. Rozongoi, NTV.
Quite a bittersweet ending to the story of those three girls. I'm not sure as to what that means for the third girl who goes by the name Melvin, however. Now, a one-day-old baby discovered wrapped in dirty hospital linen at the Webuye County Hospital 34 days ago is doing well after an initial scare for medics at the hospital. The perplexing incident, which left the staff at the hospital in dismay, would see the little boy fight for his life and survive against the odds. Baby Moses, as he is fondly referred to by the staff at the newborn unit, is now facing a new challenge. He is in need of a home as his time at the newborn unit has come to an end.
Oblivious to the trauma he faced in the first 24 hours of his life, baby Moses sleeps peacefully in the presence of the very nurses who saved him from death. Moses was found dumped at Webuye County Hospital on a cold stretcher and covered with dirty hospital sheets. Nurses, however, had the muffled cries of the one-day-old infant and rushed him to the newborn unit in critical condition.
We had a body at casualty, so the body had been taken to morgue, and somebody found an opportunity to take this baby and put in the very linen that the body actually had been removed. So this
baby Moses, who was fighting for breath, was then resuscitated and admitted in critical condition. It is difficult to tell, however, given the sparkle in his eyes currently, which has not been dimmed despite his cruel introduction to the world. The hospital is, however, asking well-wishers to provide the infant with a home, as the hospital is limited in terms of resources.
This baby, because as you've heard, the hospital also is very constrained in terms of resources. So it is these nurses and the doctors here who have been contributing to buy naan and the feeds every day, even Pampers and Vaseline and other things. So we need that help to assist this boy grow. And also we are praying to God that
in the meantime, the nurses are happily caring for baby Moses, who they say is the darling of the newborn unit. The matter has been reported to the area police and the children's department. Stacey Kirori, NTV.
Let's go back to our top story, where 8 police officers have been killed in Wajir County when Al-Shabaab militants planted an improvised explosive device on the road. The attack occurred at about 11 a.m. between Khor of Harar and Konton area in the Wajir near the Kenya-Somalia border. 7 police officers died on the spot and their bodies have been ferried to Wajir General Hospital mortuary. 2 officers were injured in this IED attack and 2 remain unaccounted for. Another officer died Friday night in an attack by Al-Shabaab militants in Ol Buji Karas Center, that's near Kutulo along the Wajir-Mandera road. A night before, there was a similar attack in Konton whereby Al-Shabaab militants kidnapped 3 Kenya police reservists. Inspector General of Police Hilary Mutiambai, however, put the number of police officers on board the patrol vehicle hit by the IED at 11, despite reports that there were 12 officers on board. Meanwhile, dozens of people, including Wajir Governor Mohamed Abdi, attended the burial ceremony of one of the officers who was laid to rest this afternoon.
Ningependa kulaani vikali mauaji ya kinyama ambayo imefanywa na wale ambao wanatuhumiwa kuwa Al-Shabaab katika sehemu ya Bojigaras.
Now to our continuing coverage of the 2019-2020 budget. You will pay tens of thousands of shillings more for that car that you plan to import if the National Treasury's proposals for higher taxes sail through. In the Finance Bill 2019, excise tax on imported cars will have been increased by 5% as compared to the current law. NTV's Silas Apollo reports that this is not the only cause for the cost of vehicles to go up.
The pressure to hit the budget's target is on, and it has visited the car buyers' parking lots. Treasury Cabinet Secretary Henry Rotich has proposed higher excise duty for imported cars.
Also excise duty for motor vehicles which are above 1500 cc has gone. Excise duty will go up from 20 to 25%, and those which are high capacity will go up from 30 to 35%.
If Parliament passes the Finance Bill 2019 without altering this proposal, considering most cars are imported, buying a car in these categories in Kenya will be more expensive. CS Rotich chose to make the announcement outside Parliament's main chambers, possibly because MPs would have expressed disapproval. As per the proposals, a 2012 Toyota Premio with an engine capacity of 1,800 cc will see its tax rise from 393,390 shillings to 440,343 shillings, a difference of 46,953 shillings. The tax on a 2012 Toyota Vanguard with an engine capacity of 2,400 cc will increase by 69,280 shillings, while that of a Mitsubishi RVR will rise by about 45,500 shillings, according to dealers. In addition to this, the CS has proposed that the import declaration fees, IDF, are raised from 2% to 3.5%. Car dealers who spoke to NTV say that the change in pricing on each vehicle will differ based on various factors, but the amount a buyer will pay for an imported car in the said categories will increase by up to 12% in some cases. Silas Apollo, NTV.
The just released 2019-2020 budget continues to elicit mixed reactions across the country, with many questioning the allocations in the various sectors of the economy. Farmers say the agriculture sector did not get adequate resources, yet it is the sector that contributes significantly to the economy. And as Gabriel Kudaka reports, the farmers now fear the government's food security ambitions, as set out in the Big Four agenda, might be a tall order to achieve.
When Treasury CS Henry Rotich made his budget speech, farmers were keenly following for matters agriculture. And as the speech was read, 59.1 billion shillings was allocated to agriculture, rural and urban development, this being 3.2% of the total budget. The farmers say this is not even close enough to what is needed to achieve food security.
Wanakosa pesa kuweka budget kwa mahindi. Na wanasema wanaagiza mahindi kutoka nje. Hiyo wameweka budget ambayo inatoka wapi?
According to the Economic Survey of 2019, the agriculture sector contributes about 25% to the country's gross domestic product.
Food security haiwezi succeed kwa sababu serikali haijaweka mikakati.
Naona tunaenda kuachana na maneno ya ukulima sababu hatuna lingine, sababu tukiingiza pesa kule hatupati faida yote.
The agriculture subsidy program that supports farmers on availability of subsidized seed and fertilizer only got 2 billion shillings.
The price was 6,000. When walipo subsidize ikakuja 18, we were able kukulima na kuweza kutekeleza mambo yetu ya mashamba. Lakini wakiondoa hizo, tutarudi kwa kunyanyaswa na wafanyabiashara.
Moiben, Member of Parliament, Silas Tiren blames the challenges bedeviling the agriculture sector to lack of commitment by the government in honoring the Maputo Declaration.
Currently, about 3% of the national budget is allocated to agricultural sector, which is far much below the 10% recommendation by Maputo Declaration, to which Kenya is a signatory.
The farmers have also questioned the government's commitment to crop diversification, saying the 1 billion shilling allocated is not enough to put infrastructure in place for horticulture farming.
Kama avocado inaweza kuwekwa kwa muda wa mwaka moja kama kwa mahindi kwa store, tungekubali tuweke.
Also captured in this year's financial budget is 600 million shillings, monies which the government intends to use in the mitigation of the fall armyworm pest. Gabriel Kudaka, NTV.
Now here's something to look forward to. The last 10 months have been hell on earth for residents of parts of Marsabit County in northern Kenya. There has been death by day and by night. The issue of when the next attack will occur, a matter of when and not if. A return of the days of old when violence was a way of life, the norm rather than the unusual. So far, 17 people have died in the last 1 month alone. What has sparked the spate of attacks? Why is the violence ongoing despite a heavy security presence in the area? Is the government concerned, or is it an issue that has been brushed aside? Join NTV's Melita Oletenges tomorrow, that's Sunday 7 and 9 p.m. as he untangles the mess in our special Sunday feature, Death in the Desert. Here now is a preview.
Kubikalo village was once a vibrant village with Borana settlers, livestock, and was full of life.
Hakuna ng'ombe mimi niko nao, hakuna mbuzi, hayote yameenda.
Security wala hata sisi vile tunaamka asubuhi tunakuja hii kazi, tunayogofia haswa nafsi yetu.
Serikali kama hao hawana haja na nchi hii, sisi pia tutatoka hapa. Hata tukikufa na njaa na kiu, tukufe njiani badala ya kukufa hapa.
This is conflict over land. It's conflict over, power.
When there is war, you cannot arrest everybody.
Lost in Marsabit is a big loss to me. It's a setback to me.
Do stay tuned for that. 7 and 9 p.m. on Sunday. Now, members of County Assembly spoke in one voice, demanding that they should be paid housing allowances in line with a similar push by members of Parliament. Do you agree with their demands? We sampled some of your views from various parts of the country, and here now is your say.
Mambo ya MCAs wanataka ongeze hiyo house allowance, inaenda kutufinya sisi sana wa Kenya, reflecting the fact that hii nchi imeoverborrow loans mingi kutoka huko China. Ukiangalia reflecting the ballooning wage bill, tunaona tunaenda kuwa na magharama mingi sana. Sawa, MCAs pia nao watulie tu wakae kama sisi raia wengine.
Naona MCA wasipewe allowance kwa sababu hawatusaidii kabisa. Tunakuja mahali kama ya basari. Sasa wanasema ati wapewe allowance, wasipewe allowance, hawatusaidii basari. Sisi ukienda kuomba basari, wanapewa wale wenye next, wako next kwao.
Siongezewe allowance. Juu ukiangalia the cost of living iko juu sana kwa saizi. Uchumi umezorota. Bei ya mafuta imeongezwa.
Mimi naona MPs, MCAs, au watu wako greedy.
That the MCAs have copied the same thing. What they are saying is they are also demanding house allowance. Isn't that madness? We've just gone through a huge budget of 3.2 trillion. It's not even focusing on the big four agenda strongly.
Wakishapewa hiyo MCA wanahama huko mashinani, wanakuja kuishi mjini.
As you think about that, let's take our first short break on NTV Weekend Edition this Saturday. We still have plenty more for you, so don't go too far.
Edition with Edmond Nyabola.
Welcome back. Let's now have a look at politics. Deputy President William Ruto has chided a section of Nyanza members of parliament for pushing President Uhuru Kenyatta to endorse opposition leader Raila Odinga as his preferred successor when his term comes to an end in 2022. Ruto insists that the Jubilee Party has its own plans and history that cannot be changed. This comes after a section of opposition leaders urged President Uhuru Kenyatta to ensure his successor is someone who will keep up the ongoing war on graft.
This weekend, Deputy President William Ruto was in Mukurueni in Nyeri County, where he told of a section of opposition MPs who are pushing President Uhuru Kenyatta to endorse ODM leader Raila Odinga as his preferred 2022 successor for the top seat.
We pray that God gives you life, gives you strength and energy. Please pray that you leave somebody in office who is going to continue with the fight against corruption. Don't leave a person who is going to reverse all the gains that you have started.
In these 3 years, if we don't put our energies together with Raila Amolo Odinga and President Uhuru Kenyatta, Kenya will not be what we desire it to be. It's a chance God has given to us.
I beg you, Your Excellency, pray with me, because you cannot do it alone, that we get someone who is not a thief to occupy the house and the hill when you live.
So wale wanasumbuka ati kwenda kusukumana, ati tuanze kusema nani atafanya na nani ataenda na nani itakuwa. Mimi nataka niwaeleze mapema mchana, sisi kama wana Jubilee tunajua mahali tunatoka, tunajua mahali tuko na tunaelewa sana mahali tunaenda.
A section of Jubilee leaders led by National Assembly Majority Leader Aden Duale now say opposition leaders seeking President Kenyatta's endorsement must first join the Jubilee Party.
So kama Mheshimiwa Raila unataka upate kitu kupitia rais, ingia vunja chama cha ODM, ingia Jubilee. Alafu hapa mkiingia mpambane na kijana chipukizi anaitwa William Ruto.
Sasa mambo ya Raila wote tu aendelee kuota, miaka yote ameendelea kuota na ataota hivyo paka aruti astaafu, aruti nyumbani kisiasa.
The leaders are upbeat that President Kenyatta will fulfill his promise of supporting Ruto's presidential bid in 2022.
Kuna watu wengi wanasumbuka na mimi na wananisumbua ati mbona Ruto ameenda hapa, mbona Ruto ameenda kwa ile barabara, mbona ameenda kwa ile shule. Mimi nataka niwaombe hawa ndugu zangu wanisamee kwa sababu niko na kazi ya kufanya.
The handshake between President Kenyatta and Odinga has divided the Jubilee Party into two factions: the Kieleweke team that is allied to President Kenyatta and the Tangatanga team allied to his deputy William Ruto. Vincent Odur, NTV.
Staying with politics, ANC party leader Musalia Mudavadi, his Ford Kenya counterpart Moses Wetangula and Devolution Cabinet Secretary Eugene Wamalwa now say they will join efforts to ensure other leaders from Western Kenya join them and have the Luhya community speak in one voice ahead of the 2022 political contest. The leaders from Western Kenya say they will shun divisive politics to ensure they produce a president from the Luhya community. They were speaking in Butula sub-county in Busia County during the burial ceremony of former councillor Andrew Kwena.
Ule wito tumepokea kutoka kwa viongozi wetu wa mashinani, wakiwemo wabunge wetu wa mabunge ya hapa Western. It's not something we can neglect, sio jambo tunaweza puuza, na ushauri wangu kwa ndugu zetu ni kwamba vile mmetuona hapa, tutatembea barabara moja.
Tukifika nafasi Musalia aone mimi ndio naweza kupata, ana haki ya kurudi nyuma. Mimi nikiona yeye ndiye anaweza kupata, nina haki ya kurudi nyuma. Ili tuweze kupatia jamii yetu nafasi.
Tunataka Kenya kila mtu ahusishwe, na ikiwa jamii mbili zimewahi kutoa uongozi kwa zaidi ya miaka 50, more than half a century, leadership has come from two communities. It is only fair that Kenyans recognize that there are other communities in Kenya.
Away from politics, the increase in water levels across all the lakes along the Great Rift Valley might have spelled destruction of habitat for some wildlife. The Lake Nakuru National Park has been losing the greater and lesser flamingos that are part of its main attractions. But now the Kenya Wildlife Service says plans to rehabilitate the lake and improve on its visitor experience will restore the lake's faded glory, as NTV's Bridget Ngana tells us.
7 years ago, the waters of the Lake Nakuru leveled up, drowning in its path the main entrance and the other establishments that welcomed visitors to the world-renowned flamingo-rich lake. Enter the water and exit the pink-feathered birds, which flourished from the then shallow algae-rich waters of the Lake Nakuru. And now, the Kenya Wildlife Service says it can bring the flamingos back.
We have to initiate a process, at least, to restore the flamingo habitat. And one way is to manipulate the environment, the habitat, so that it can be suitable to flamingos.
Apart from being a Ramsar and World Heritage Site, the Lake Nakuru National Park has all along been a sanctuary for the black and white rhinos. But now visitors to the park will, in the coming days, engage in more activities other than viewing the wildlife.
Rock climbing. We have out of Africa rock, that's not used. So we also want to induce that people who like climbing, of course, who prefer climbing, can also do rock climbing within the park.
And KWS has set an ambitious 3-month period in which to deliver on the new visitor experience and attractions.
As citizens, we have a stake in the ecological gem and therefore should feel obliged to soil our hands and to revert it back to its former pristine status.
Destructive activities upstream in the catchment areas, poor solid and wastewater management systems are said to have contributed to the high water levels at Lake Nakuru.
10 million people who are depending on the water system from the Mau Forest Tower all the way to Lake Victoria. What about people living around Lake Naivasha, Lake Elementaita, Lake Baringo?
Well, the Kenya Wildlife Service says that there are a variety of tourist attraction activities that are coming up in the next 100 days, and one of them is the boat ride. Yes, for the first time, visitors to the Lake Nakuru National Park will be able to ride boats on the Lake Nakuru, something which has never happened since this park was established. Bridget Ngana, NTV, Nakuru County.
The head of the Catholic Church in Kenya, John Cardinal Njue, today presided over a mass wedding ceremony for 25 couples at Our Lady of Visitation Catholic Church along Jogoo Road. There was excitement at the church as family and friends gathered to witness the mass wedding, during which the Cardinal refrained from addressing contemporary national issues. Some of the couples who were present to formalize their marital unions said they preferred the mass ceremony to cut costs for their special day. The couples expressed their joy, with some saying they have waited for this day for 12 years and are urging those who would like to join the marriage institution to do so without fear.
Hii ndoa nimeigojea kwa miaka mingi, miaka 12 kama nimeigojea. Tulikuwa tunaulizia hii siku itafika lini, lakini kwa Mwenyezi Mungu imeweza kufika.
Congratulations to the 25 couples. Now, a 59-year-old man identified as Leonard Genga Ounda has been missing since the 29th of May 2019. Genga Ounda, who is 5'5" in height and walks in a stoop, is of a dark complexion, small build and a little frail. He suffers from Parkinson's disease and has slight tremors on his arms and shuffles his feet while walking. He was last seen wearing a green jacket and black trousers with red slippers. His head at the time was clean-shaven. His family filed a missing person report at the Kasarani police station under OB number 4403 of June 2019. If you have seen him, please call 07188600359 or 0725690034 or 0721 567051. You can also report to the nearest police station. And on that note, we take another short break on NTV Weekend Edition. When we come back, Women and Power is back. And of course, after that, we have your favorite segments of Saturday. Don't go too far. Welcome back to NTV Weekend Edition. Now, people around the world today marked the World Elderly Abuse Day, a day dedicated to raising awareness about the abuse and suffering inflicted on some of our older generations. Here in Kenya, the issue of care for the elderly remains largely unaddressed, despite the fact that the elderly face an increasing number of challenges, as NTV's Anita Nkonge found out.
It is the age when one is meant to celebrate a long life well lived. But for some of our elderly here in Kenya, retirement has brought constant torment. In Riruta Kawangware area, for senior citizens, Karika, a caregiving center for the elderly, has turned into a safe haven. For 74-year-old Mbogwa Muthiora, it became a place of refuge after his relationship with some members of his family got strained. Mbogwa's problems began when his wife fell ill and died. A father of 9, 2 of his sons accused him of performing witchcraft on their sickly mother. Matters got worse as the mother was dying. Mbogwa had built 8 houses on a plot of land he had inherited from his father and distributed some of the houses to his children. However, 2 of his sons turned against him. Mbogwa says the signs had been ominous. Shaken, Mbogwa reported the incident to the police and his son was in remand for 3 weeks. Eventually, Mbogwa's brother convinced him to let his son out, but the relationship with his son has never been the same. His other children talked him out of committing suicide, and talks with his local priest helped him find peace. But for Mbogwa, his scars are still a painful reminder of his situation. Mbogwa's story is just an example of the rampant abuse of the elderly that takes place in Kenya.
Some reasons why older people are abused, mostly is property.
According to the World Health Organization, elderly abuse is defined as a single or repeated act that occurs in a relationship built on trust, which causes harm or distress to an older person. Elderly abuse can therefore take various forms, including financially, physically, psychologically, sexually, and can also be the result of intentional or unintentional neglect. Though the rights of elders are protected in the 2010 Kenyan Constitution and the National Policy for Elder Persons, there have been calls for more to be done to combat rising cases of elderly abuse and neglect in the country.
I hope the government will realize that the older people are dying even earlier than their days because of psychological torture.
For Elijah, who owns Karika and who got the half-acre piece of land from the government, the burden of carrying some elderly issues is proving too much for one person to bear.
I cannot ignore them, but then the burden keeps on coming to be bigger and bigger every now and then.
We look forward to having a National Council for Older People, an institution that brings older people together and they feel that they are represented.
The United Nations has it that abuse of the elderly is more common in countries with a rapidly aging population. With the erosion of traditional African values here in Kenya, perhaps it's time that we sat down and reflected on how best we can treat our senior citizens. Anita Nkonge, NTV.
Now, Jennifer Masharia was exposed to the anatomy of cars at an early age, and her interest was honed watching her father at a garage. It was inevitable that when he passed away, Jennifer joined her siblings in running the family business. Today, she prides herself in becoming an accomplished mechanic in a male-dominated field. She shares her journey with Gladys Kashanja in this week's Women and Power.
My name is Jennifer Macharia. I'm a mechanic. I do service, suspension. I also do engine overhaul. I've been doing the job since 2002 until now. I was a tomboy from the start. I didn't start praying with Dory. Nilianza mambo ya matope, gari, nini. So okay, na dada alikuwa mechanic, unaona. So mara mingi ni ile alikuwa ananichukua me and my bro. Tukija ilikuwa inakaa kama, yani naona kenye wanafanya ni kitu mzuri sana. So since he passed away, then nikaona nilikuwa nafanya designer hiyo wakati. So nikaacha. When I came here, the only mwenye alikuwa ananishikilia mkono was my mom. When I said nataka kufanya mechanic kuliko kuwa mtu wa kufanya secretary hapa na pale nini, my mom told me, si wewe ndio unataka kufanya hiyo, si wewe ndio umeamua twende nikakubai over. She bought my first over. Kuna wale wanasemaga saa unafanya kazi chafu nini. Kuna mmoja alinirusha neno, he said that aiza kafanya mtu na kazi na mtu anavaa skirt. First time nilipatia rad rover nitoe bushes. That was hell like hell. Juu nilitoka nikiumia huko. Walikuwa wanataka ni give up, some of them. But wakaona huyu mtu ametoa ya kwanza. So akaona unashaona wale, but nafurahi venye walinipatia hizo majaribu na siku give up. A lot of memory inatakikana pale juu ukitoanisha kitu kama aging. Nataka everything irudi pahali ilikuwa. Inakuwa a lot of challenge kwa student, but for me naongeleshaga vizuri. Naambia not everything that you see is easy. So the only thing you have to do is push on, work hard, na itakuletea matokeo mazuri. I have let me use the word, very beautiful people who are my customer. Wao wananipatia leo uko hebu leo ndio nataka utengeneze gari yangu. Yaani unaweza kuta hata na niko pale niko hapa. Kama jana nilifanya 2 vehicle na kulikuwa na wengine, but the customer wanted me to do the work. Okay, Kenya huwa wanasema mwanamke anakuwa very careful. Hakuna kitu anaweza sahau. Kazi ni kazi. Kuna kenye mtu anapenda, but unasikia aibu unasema watasemaje. Inabiago usiangalie the next person next to you. Jiangalie wewe na future yako. Pahali unaenda. Juu tomorrow itakuwa wewe, hatakuwa yeye.
Let's take another short break on NTV Weekend Edition. When we come back, we have your favorite segments. You don't want to miss this. Welcome back. Let's now have some fun on NTV Weekend Edition. Have you heard about this Argentinian ex-minister who was arrested after being caught red-handed tossing 160 suitcases and duffel bags full of looted cash over a wall into the garden of a church? An Argentinian court has sentenced Jose Lopez to 6 years in prison after he was caught by police trying to hide bags stuffed with an equivalent of about 1 billion Kenya shillings in cash at a Buenos Aires convent. An 80-year-old Catholic nun was also charged with complicity in the case but later acquitted. Surely, a church was the worst place to hide the stolen loot. You should have learned from the Kenya Mattress Bankers Corporation, assuming Argentina do not demonetize their currency like Kenya. Rich Chinese parents who are training their children on English etiquette and manners. The parents hope the exercise will help their kids shine among China's ultra-competitive elite. The kids are taught on dressing, greeting, table manners, politeness in language, and to be ladylike, among other traditions of the monarch. This is interesting, considering China is now a superpower, with most people striving to learn their language and culture. First world problems, these ones. By the way, have you heard about this monkey from Lebanon that has done what many from his country cannot dare do? Touch, the monkey breached the border with Israel and jumped and danced around excitedly in enemy territory for more than 1 week. Touch reunited with its owner after it was returned to the Lebanese soil by United Nations peacekeepers. Maybe it was sent there to spy. Monkeys are very smart, nearly like us, you know. And have you heard that one of Kenya's most precious fruits, that's the avocado, may become even more expensive in the United States due to the US-Mexico border row? Buyers of avocado in the US, nearly 90% of which comes from Mexico, would be hit hard if the president of the US, Donald Trump, puts into action his threat to slap a 25% tariff on all products from Mexico in a bid to pressure the country to stem the flow of migrants across the border. They should at least buy ours, usually very cheap, just 20 bob, and you have one ripe one. Quite some interesting stuff there. Now, time for History Saturday, where we look at the key events of the years gone by throughout this week, beginning here at home. On 12th June 1958, a would-be Kenyan literary icon was born. Margaret Atieno Ogolla, author of the award-winning novel The River and the Source, continues to be remembered almost 80 years after her death. Wednesday would have been her 60th birthday. On that day, tech giant Google honored the late novelist, pediatrician, and human rights advocate with a doodle on the search engine's page. Born in Asembo in my county of Siaya, Ogolla passed away after a long battle with cancer on September 21st, 2011. Long live her legacy. On 11th June 2009, the World Health Organization declared H1N1 swine flu, do you remember that, a global pandemic of the 21st century, and rolled out a vaccination campaign. In March of that year, a new strain of H1N1 influenza virus began circulating and rapidly spread around the world. Between 10 to 200 million people were infected with this particular strain of flu, and about 18,500 lab-confirmed deaths occurred, and possibly as many as 150,000 people died, lest we forget peoples of the world. On 12th of June 1964, Nelson Mandela was sentenced to life in prison in South Africa. Mandela was arrested and imprisoned in 1962 and subsequently sentenced to life imprisonment for conspiring to overthrow the state following the Rivonia trial. Mandela served 27 years in prison, split between Robben Island, Poolsmoor Prison, and Victor Verster Prison. He was released in 1990 and became the Rainbow Nation's first black president in 1994. May his soul rest in peace. On 12th of June 1987, Central African Republic ex-Emperor Jean Badel Bokassa was sentenced to death. For 10 years, Bokassa had reigned with an iron fist in the Central African Republic, having ousted his distant cousin from office when he was head of the armed forces. Attempting to emulate his idol, Napoleon Bonaparte, Bokassa had himself declared the Emperor of the Central African Republic and rained terror on his countrymen. Talk of Africa's most popular dictators. And on 13th of June 1953, Briton Jim Peters became the first athlete to complete a marathon under 2 hours and 20 minutes. Peters ran a world record marathon of 2 hours, 18 minutes and 40.02 seconds. Coincidentally, on 13th June 1964, Basil Hitley ran a world record of 2 hours, 13 minutes and 55 seconds. Kenya's Eliud Kipchoge holds the current record of 2 hours, 1 minute and 39 seconds. Kipchoge is hoping to break the 2-hour barrier in a promotional race in September of this year. And that's all we had for you on History Saturday. And have you heard? We take a break right now. When we come back, Ida Waringa has all the sports of the day.
Ida Waringa. Time to play before we jam rock in a bit. And the Harambee Stars faced a Democratic Republic of Congo in the second and final pre-AFCON friendly in Madrid this evening. Meanwhile, we finish up our in-depth look at Harambee Stars squad to Cairo, Egypt by focusing on the defenders who will be key in maintaining Coach Sebastian Menye's defensive form of play against opponents Algeria, Tanzania and Senegal.
AFCON 2019 in association with GoTV.
Harambee Stars assistant captain Musa Mohamed faces a race against time to be ready for Kenya's open against Algeria at the AFCON 2019. Musa, who has 34 caps, made his bones as a defender for Gor Mahia, but he got a hamstring strain during the team's 1-0 friendly win over Madagascar. Journeyman Aboud Omar has been a cog in the Harambee Stars setup. However, the knock he picked during the Madagascar friendly is a setback to the defender who has 32 caps.
sinaga pressure, wao na pressure. Unajua, wao wako hapo juu, wanataka ku maintain. Sisi ni underdogs, tunakwenda kwa tackle. So sisi kucheza na Tanzania wako chini yetu. So mimi naona kwamba Tanzania plus ni kama derby. Ile game ambayo naona itakuwa ngumu zaidi, but kulingana na hizo vitu vingine, Algeria na Senegal, kwangu mimi I'm ready to go.
With Musa and Aboud carrying knocks and experienced Brian Mandela out of AFCON due to an injury, Minya has to turn to Sweden-based Eric Ouma, Gor Mahia's duo Philemon Otieno and Josh Onyango, as well as USA-based Joseph Okumu, Zambia-based David Calabao Wino, and Vihiga United's Bernardo Chieng.
For me to be where I am, I think I've done something that the coach has been able to see and to make me in that level, like, yeah, he can compete against the top players. Once you enter into the pitch, there's no top player and an underdog. Once you're in the pitch, like, yeah, you're all the same. So just go to the pitch and do my best. That's the only pressure I have, to do my best.
Meanwhile, Harambee Stars have received their consignment of French brand Macron jerseys for the Africa Cup of Nations. The team will don red as the home color in all their group stage matches. White will be their away team color, while green has been picked as the third kit. The jerseys will retail at 3,500 shillings on Football Kenya Federation's website.
Let us win by doing the best. And even though we lost, let us lose knowing that we gave these kids and these boys all they deserve. We paid them, we kitted them, we fed them, we paid for their flights, we made sure they are comfortable. And whatever the coach wanted, which has never happened in Kenyan history, whatever he wanted, we have delivered, and I have been there personally to make sure that is done.
Kenya, making a return to the continental showpiece after 15 years, has set a target of second round appearance. Brian Atwal, NTV Sport.
Road to AFCON 2019 in association with GoTV.
Experience the unforgettable with the Total Africa Cup of Nations with Supersport on GoTV. GoTV, live it, love it. Proudly brought to you by Bettin.
Now, an update on that game between Kenya's Harambee Stars and DR Congo. Currently in about the 90th minute, current score being Kenya 1, DR Congo 1. Now, Kenya was leading up until the 86th minute. That was courtesy of a goal by Michael Olunga with a stellar assist by Ayub Timbe. However, a very late blunder by Patrick Matasi has handed DR Congo that goal, that equalizer. Let's move on. And sticking on Harambee Stars, they make a return to AFCON after a 15-year absence. And Isaac Juma Onyango, who has made a name for himself as an ardent football fan, would ideally be over the moon with joy. However, Juma is a sad man. The reason? His quest to cheer on the Stars in Cairo, Egypt, appears to have hit turbulence even before liftoff.
Sasa hiyo nashangaa sana kwa sababu inafikanga wakati kama huu, wakati timu yangu imeenda nje. Sasa nashangaa, sasa kifika last minute na hii nashangaa juu timu ni yangu, na nikiona timu iko mahali na sijaona dalili yote ama vile inaweza travel, nashikwa na mchecheto kabisa. Sasa na hiyo ndio changamoto ikafanya nikasema hapana, wacha nijitetee mapema nione kama wananchi wanaweza kunisaidia ama nione vile inaweza kusaidika juu. Sasa kama mpira Harambee sasa itaanza, na hiyo sio mpira sasa kama ni AFCON, hiyo ni sasa kama Sekafa. Juu timu zetu za Sekafa karibu timu 3-4 zishafaulu huko. Sasa problem kitu kidogo tu problem yenye nilikuwa nayo, passport yangu ilikuwa ime expire. Unajua mambo na passport ki expire, sasa mimi sikujua mahali nilikuanga Nakuru, sasa hivi siko Nakuru. Nilihama sasa niko mashambani huko Mumias. Hata ndio sasa nimekuja nikaomba nikaona vile naweza ona usaidizi, nisaidiwe, nipeperushe bendera yangu, niende nikuwe mzalendo huko. Pia nisione mimi mpira huwa sioni kwa TV ama nisikie kwa radio. Nikiomba serikali ule anaweza sikia jambo langu anisikie. Hata akiwa Mheshimiwa Rais Kenyatta, Mheshimiwa Rais Kenyatta. Je, sasa zote ananiona hata kama Shujaa Day ABC na hiyo bendera yangu.
All the best to Juma there. I'm sure if you go to the stadium, then you must have seen him. All the best. And let's move on. It's Advantage Posta Rangers in the quest to play in the Kenyan Premier League in the 2019-2020 season. This follows the Mailmen's 2-1 win over Nairobi Steamer in the KPL promotion. playoff played at the Karuturi grounds in Naivasha, while the second leg will be played on Wednesday at the Kenyatta Stadium in Machakos. Nairobi Steamer, who finished third in the NSL this season, have their work cut out as they seek to become the first national Super League side to earn promotion to the Kenyan Premier League via the playoff route. Well, the Africa Beach Games got underway with a lively opening ceremony in Sal Island, Cape Verde. Meanwhile, the National Basketball League continued, even as the national women's basketball team gears up for the Africa Games qualifiers, and a unique football match seeking to change perceptions was played at City Stadium. Details in our local sports roundup. The opening ceremony of the Africa Beach Games in Cape Verde took place on Saturday in Sal Island. Prior to it, the Kenyan women's handball team bounced back to beat Sierra Leone 2-0 in their second pool match as Kenya's in Group 1. Meanwhile, Kenya's beach soccer team took part in training ahead of their first match slated for Wednesday. On to basketball, and the University of Nairobi Terror beat Trailblazers 51-43 matches played in the Kenya Basketball Federation League. In select results, JKUAT saw Friara University 63-47 and KDF Morans went down 39-44 to Strathmore. Meanwhile, Spain-based Mercy Wanyama has linked up with the national women's team, captained by Hilda Indasi, ahead of the Zone 5 Africa Games qualifiers, which will be staged in Kampala, Uganda. The Africa Games will be held in August in Rabat, Morocco.
And the national team is also being sponsored this time round for the All Africa Games. We are going to play from 25th to 30th in Kampala. Hopefully it gets better. We need to get back to where we were as a country in terms of African basketball.
In hockey, Sliders edged JKUAT 1-0 at City Park Stadium in the Women's Premier League as Lakers and Amira Sailors played out to a barren draw in Kisumu. Meanwhile, University of Nairobi women cruised to a 3-1 win over Nakuru women, and Nakuru men beat Kisumu Young Stars by a similar scoreline. Lion Star beat Black Albinism 2-1 in a football match played at the City Stadium in honor of International Albinism Awareness Day. Lion Stars was created in 2017 under the Short Stature Society of Kenya, while Black Albinism, created in 2018, is an initiative which seeks to tap into the talent pool of persons with albinism. The next editions will be in Mombasa and Uasin Gishu. And just to confirm on our earlier update on Harambee Stars versus DR Congo, that game has ended 1-1. To some international football now, and the Netherlands confirmed their place in the FIFA Women's World Cup knockout stage. With a game to spare as they beat Cameroon 3-1. Arsenal's Viviane Miedema became the European champions all-time. to be an amazing show. It's back to Edmond.
And that's all we had for you on NTV Weekend Edition. As Ida Waringa did say, Jamrock is in the house and the team is here preparing. Chris Darling.
Go on.
And Miss Katiwa.
Tunagiana hivi ama unakula.
Okay, so Zito.
Kuna mume anapiga kidroids maze.
When the boys nini? And DJ Wiz.
Yes.
Now, I want to show you that I can actually sing. I have very good singing skills and reggae at that.
So which song do you love?
Redemption song. Play it.
Do you want to sing or you want to play it?
Oh, I will sing.
You want to sing?
I will sing. Play the song.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. Okay. Yes, karaoke.
Tonight on NTV Jamrock.
Okay. Okay. All pirates just they row by, sold I to the merchant ships. Minutes after they took I. Yes, they row by. Sold I to the merchant ships. Minutes after they took I. Skiza. But my hands were made strong by the hands of the Almighty. We forward in this generation. Skiza. Triumphantly. Won't you help to sing? Okay. These songs of freedom is all I ever had. Redemption song.
We think about that. Huwezi kuwa unakula mdomo mazee.
Lip syncing.
Kill it.
Alright. So are you gonna sing today or you wanna DJ? I think it would be an honor if you give you one song so that you can just at least try.
I can DJ, but I can sing.
No, just try.
Amepiga look ya news.
Bado tuna fix.
So bado na fix. Even though watu kutoka pia nini.
Kwa tu sawa. Ama kuna laleza na kwa kwa downtown.
Alafu pia nafaa kujitoa saizi unajua.
All right, don't you go away, we're right here. So Edmond was our guest singer tonight. So all you need to do, just like Edmond did, kindly send us a track, like 30 seconds to a new Kiba karaoke, a video, tag NTV Jamrock at NTV Jamrock, and then of course, we'll be sharing them. Studio.
And of course, lazima uingie hapo kwanza follow the page ndio tuweze yani kuicheck, unajua uwezi itag kama uja follow. So make sure you follow first. And of course, we have a lot yani lined up for you on this show. Kumbuka tutakuwa tunaongea on the Jamrock vibes about kids ama watoi wa vibes cartel. Unajua watu wanamjua kama artist.
Yes.
But now we'll be talking more about his kids. And of course pia Jamrock mtani itakuwa hapo hivyo on the ones and twos. Now make sure pia ingia hapo kwenye Jamrock page, pia follow kwenye Twitter, kwenye Facebook and
unasoma news hapa. So ijaanza.
So umesema
Buda time yako imechora kuna time yetu mas. We'll be right back. We'll be right here.